So this little tutorial is just really to show you how to mix a basic mid-tone grey. And the grey I use quite a lot. I use it for shadows, I use it for mixing black, and I use it for mixing very light shadows on white flowers. So what I tend to do is mix it up really quickly on the palette, and sometimes when you're doing quite a lot of shadows, say we're doing a big white project, it's quite nice to have a little reservoir mixed up. So similar to mixing my green in the cup, I tend to mix up a good little reservoir. So for the mid-tone colour, you want to have majority of the French ultramarine. Now, unlike the green, I don't tend to mix up vast amounts of this colour because it can separate, and we only use it very, very thinly. So what I tend to do is I mix up just a regular amount. I don't know what that means, but regular amounts will be what I mix. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix some yellow into that. So I've got French ultramarine and Sennelier yellow, and you can see the amount of blue I've put on there. So I'm going to put about half of the yellow there, so it's predominantly blue, and then a little bit of water, and mix those two together, and you will end up with a very, very dark green, a blue-green. And then what I do then is add a little bit of Sennelier red. So we're mixing these three primaries together to get a good tertiary grey. Just stir in the red. Now what the red does is it sort of neutralises the green, and it gives you a very dark, warm grey. So I'm going to show you that. And this would be a base colour that I would use for black flowers. What I like about those three colours together for a black flower is that they give a sort of nice intensity without being too flat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you that now on the palette. And you can see it very, very dark. And what I'll do is I'll just take my brush and just water that down just to show you. So it's a blue, it's very blue, this mix. So this is how I test it to see if I need to add another colour. So I think I'm going to add just a little bit more red, and just add it in very small amounts. So just a tiny bit of red there. I'm using my same mixing brush, and that's really just to neutralise that blue a little bit more. And we'll put that on the palette alongside and see what difference that's made. That's better. You can see we've got more, it's added a little bit of warmth to it, so it's made it more purple in tone. Now if I want to make that slightly more earthy, I need to add this, a little bit more of the yellow, so I'm going to do that. And what I mean by earthy is I want it a bit more neutral. So I don't want it too purple, I don't want it too green, and I don't want it too brown. So what I'm going to do is just add that little bit of yellow in, and already we've gone a lot warmer. Let's hope this is it. I used to say to my students years ago when I first started teaching this, it's more blue than the other two, so that there is a lot of blue in the mix. But if it's too blue, then it looks too blue and it doesn't work as a shadow. And if it's too yellow, it can be too warm. There we go, we've got the perfect colour now. So I'm going to show you that on a little tile here. Can you see that lovely mid-grey? So you're looking for a sort of steel grey, I guess. What we think of grey, it's neither one colour nor the other. So that's a really nice grey, and you can just water that all the way down and get some really nice light greys, which can be perfect for shadows on white flowers. Now when we paint the white flowers, we can use a little bit of grey with another little bit of colour, because not all shadows are the same colour. So you can take a little bit of that grey, mix it with a tiny little bit of pink, and make a pink grey. Just water that down a little bit more. I'll show you this. This is be like a sort of pink grey. So it's a really nice base colour for just adapting across a painting and changing the colours. And then you take a little bit of that mid-tone again over here, add a little bit of yellow, and you can get a slightly warmer more yellow grey. So it's very adaptable, and once you get the first mix right, you can see that you can then start painting some really nice mid-tones across your page. So if I was to turn that lovely colour now into black, I'll just show it to you really nice and thick on the paper. It's pretty close to black as it is now, so all I'd need to do if I wanted to get it really, really intense is just to add a tiny bit more blue to it. And that would just take it down a little bit to a slightly more intense black colour. And then if I wanted to, right at the end, I could add some, where is it gone? Here we are, some indigo. Still adapting to my new palette. And if I add the indigo, this is the darkest it can go. There's not too much of a difference here, except when you water it down, you can see the difference. So this is my mid-tone watered down. This is it with the extra blue. You can see it just a little bit cooler. And this is it with the indigo. So the indigo is really intense and gives a much deeper value. Good, well I hope you find that useful. I usually find that I keep my little pot to hand. If it's dried out, all you do is you just grab a little bit of water and drop some water drops on it, leave it for a few minutes and then stir it up again. Always make sure you keep this mix really well stirred, because the more stirred it is, the better and more even your glazes will be. You want to keep those pigments really happily singing together. So I hope you found that useful, and I hope that you follow my lead, and with any little colours that you need to mix a lot of, it's a really good idea to put it in a cup.